Leave your comments on the Ask Reddit sub, and I'll read your answers on the next episode of LWIAR. Teachers of Reddit. What's the weirdest thing a student answered to tell me a fun fact about yourself? A guy in my class introduced himself by telling us how he decided he wanted to study philosophy. Because one day he was really high peeing in the street and he saw a couple of people working and he wondered what they were doing. So he realized his passion was wandering. He dropped out like 2 months later. Not all who wonder are lost. It's hard to wonder when people tell you what to think. Philosophy is, in most academic settings, complete trash these days. Now, that doesn't mean reading Plato, Descartes, or Foucault is a waste of time. Just that the way most universities teach the subject is, they just give you a few crash courses in the history of philosophical thought and expect you to work on memorizing and summarizing rather than interacting. You don't get to interact and examine the readings and hone your own skills because academia has been industrialized. The professors just assign reading after reading, and to get through them all you have to sacrifice deeper understanding. You may be interested in Berkeley and his questions on reality, but hey, you also have to read some Kant and a few pages of Hegel before next class, so get on it. And the worst professors are the ones who believe that they alone understand. Insert overhyped dead white guy here. Edit. I reference overhyped dead white guys to emphasize that most academic philosophy courses exclude men who aren't white and women of all races. There's nothing wrong with finding Descartes or Aristotle or Pascal fascinating, but there is something off when no professor's favorite philosopher comes from outside Europe or has 2 X chromosomes, and expect you to graciously accept that same understanding. But in fairness, it is hard to have a discussions a lecture hall with 100+ students. Edit 2. Yes, there are some good academic philosophy programs. I am not crapping on philosophy in general. Just the industrialization of the subject in large universities. If you had a good philosophy class program at your school, then I'm honestly happy for you, and I'm happy that such programs exist. Philosophy is a worthwhile study, and my complaints are that too many courses don't make the subject engaging. That is most lower-level undergrad classes, though you hone your knowledge on your own or in postgraduate degrees. My undergrad philosophy classes had plenty of discussion. Benefits of a small school, I guess. Philosophy of religion was particularly interesting. I minored in philosophy and was really irked that the curriculum was 90% the history of philosophy. Not that Descartes and Plato aren't important, but that approach really sends the message that philosophy is dead. Philosophy is a living thing, and you shouldn't have to attend a prestigious institution to study it. Courses on recent philosophical movements, like existentialism and postmodernism, didn't fare much better. Masters in Phil chiming in. You can't study philosophy ahistorically. If you just want to jump into contemporary thought, you'll be lost, as each philosopher is responding to a very specific intellectual tradition that sets the stage for the issues they're trying to resolve. This idea that philosophy isn't a fundamentally historical discipline is a prejudice of recent strands in analytical philosophy, one which is only now beginning to realize that, in ignoring their roots, they're falling victim to mistakes that philosophers years before them had identified and resolved. It's annoying as an undergrad, who just wants to think about cool stuff. But any philosopher worth their salt will teach you the material historically. Because philosophy is a living, historical development of human thought. You wouldn't ask a mathematician to teach you real analysis without having first learned algebra. And tbh, it betrays a lack of respect for the discipline to assume that it's any different with philosophy. Gotta learn the basics before you can get to the cool crap. Undergraduate enthusiasm be damned. That being said, though, it's totally possible that you just had really awful professors. A lot of great academics are horrible educators, and it's kind of shocking how little instructions are given to thousand profs on how to communicate ideas effectively. When I used to lecture, my entire training was an hour-long discussion with a fellow graduate student. Lol. Edit. Wow, my first gold. Thank you, kind stranger. Less than 3. When you finish studying philosophy, in reality you end up being a philosophy historian, not a philosopher per se, which complicates what people believe philosophy is. Do you ever finish studying philosophy? And that is the core issue. The university structure would pretend that you do, but you shouldn't. We did one of those 2 truths, 1 lie bits. Girl stands up and says, I've never been out of the country. I'm a twin. I love playing sports. I knew this girl beforehand and knew she didn't have a twin. So pick that one. Nope. She had a conjoined twin that died in utero and had to be surgically removed, and she's now missing the last vertebrae on her spine. Showed us the scar and everything. Apparently the lie was the first one, as she'd been to Mexico. I'd have guessed it playing sports one. I'd expect most people who play a sport to say which one. I love playing sports sounds more like she just likes being active and playing various outdoor sports in general, rather than suggesting she's a competitive soccer player or something. Less awkward than my situation. We went on a field trip with another class and befriended a girl. When we got back, I tried to sit with her at lunch. It took almost a week to realize she was an identical twin, and I had been sitting with her twin there whole time. She was known as the friendly, approachable one, and her twin was known as being kinda the bitchy one. I ended up being BFFs with her twin. She's so unapproachable initially that I wonder how many friends she's made by PPL mistaking her for her more friendly sister. That's just the galaxy brain play. Don't need to learn how to be sociable if your twin can do it for you. What is BFFs? Boyfriend for sex? Sure, why not? I had a student say a similar thing. 1. I really like reading books too. I had a stroke 3 years ago. 3. I'm a triplet. This was the first few days at a new school for me, and his twin sister was in my class. So, he's a twin, right? Nope. They are triplets, but his brother is in a different school. BC, he's incredibly smart. This kid was in a special program 1 day a week. BC, he was smart too. So his brother must have been a genius. His sister just sat there like, yay, one brother is a genius and this does brilliant. I'm just me. She was a fantastic kid but had a lot of self-esteem issues for obvious reasons. Edit. The lie was that he liked reading books. True that he had a stroke. Lol. I'm a triplet. One of us runs an engineering firm. The other is a university professor. The third just got out of jail and managed to land a decent job installing hardwood floors. Congrats on the flooring job. Had students, aged 11, sharing strategies for dealing with difficult emotions. One at a time in a big circle. One girl talked about digging her nails into her face whenever she was feeling stressed or anxious. And I had to explain to the class why self-harm was not a good coping strategy. How did you explain it? At least it's not self-harm. I didn't go into a lot of detail. How would you? But I said I didn't recommend hurting yourself to help cope with things, because if that became a habit, you'd feel a lot worse in the long run. I said thank you to her for sharing, but asked the next person for a strategy that didn't involve hurting yourself. I like to dig my nails into the face of the kid sitting next to me. Thanks for the laugh. Look here, you little crap. JPG. Helps her deal with her emotions too, so it's kind of a win-win. Sounds like a good answer. Particularly the part about feeling worse in the long run. It's good because you gave an explanation, without shaming the girl. Did you have to report it? I mentioned it to her head of year. I was her form tutor. But I didn't put anything in writing. Kept an eye on her over the rest of the year, and made a point of occasionally asking her how she was doing, etc. A student once told my wife that her daddy had a special device that he had to blow into to start his truck. He's definitely not an alcoholic. To be fair, you don't have to be an alcoholic to get a DUI, and in some states, mine at least, you have to get one of those for minimum 6 months even for a first offense. But yeah, alcoholics are more likely to get DUIs. And also I'm aware that some states wouldn't make you get a breathalyzer until you've had multiple offenses. My dad clogged the toilet this morning and that's why I'm feeling frustrated. -5-year-old child. I will say the question was, how are you doing this morning? But I could barely keep from laughing out loud. That's pretty good identifying a feeling and the source of that feeling. The way that they experience the world is amazing. I have IBS. My toddler once told visiting friends that daddy takes long poops. I mean, I was having a flare-up and had some extended bathroom sessions. But, dang little dude, not cool. I'm terrified, amused about what he might share at school in the near future. Everything. The teacher will know everything. This is why parent-teacher conferences terrify me. My kid will tell his teacher more about my personal business than I tell my therapist. Well, I'm 21 now, but in kindergarten we had to bring something pretty to class for show and tell. I brought my mom's new bra and panty set from Victoria's Secret lol edit. Hey, my first award. Thanks guys, tilde. At about 8 years old I brought my mom's bikini to daycare to wear to the pool. It had big, foamsy cups. Strutted my way out to the pool and all the adults' eyes bugged out of their heads before quickly ushering me back inside and calling my mom. Holy crap, that is hysterical. When I was about 9 or 10 I was very flat-chested, while my best friend and her family were all very gifted. One day we stole one of her mom's bras and stuffed it for me. It was like a C or D cup. I strutted back into my house, right past my father who almost had a heart attack from laughing so hard. In my psychology class, we were talking about the early signs of serial killers, and the quietest girl who never spoke told the story of when she lived in Chicago. She had a friend around 5th grade who would always stomp on baby birds and once put his hamster in the microwave. Well, his parents were having difficulty keeping up with his antics, so they sent him to his grandmother's, who he promptly stabbed to death when she woke him up for school. So that was interesting. Well crap, did his grandmother live in Michigan by any chance? Because I have a student that did this. Actually, probably not the same, because his grandma did not end up dying from it. His sentence was scarily short and we are all terrified of the possibility of him returning to school this year. Have spoken up and was basically told there's nothing we can do about it. Do they not send people like this to special schools? I'm shifting in my chair just thinking of this exchange. I'm sweating uncontrollably thinking of this. But then I did run up 3 flights of stairs twice in the last 10 minutes. Why did you do that, you discerning pervert? He is possibly aroused. I am not a teacher, but this guy in my class named Shane has this medical condition that causes him to grow tons of hair at an early age. Full beard in middle school. He would say, I'm Shane and I'm very hairy. He could say, my name is Shane, but friends call me Harry. Carrot, you're a Shane, Harry. You're a hairy Shane. During French class, a guy in my class said that he liked stabbing children. He meant that he fences but didn't know the exact translation for that. In my German class, I said, ich esse sehr gern Kinder, and the teacher just looked at me blankly. I love the French class fun facts. In a beginner French class, I had to accidentally come out to the class when I was asked whether I had a spouse. Je suis une lesbienne. It was awkward. Jamie des chat. Je préfère les chats. Good point. I'm not sure why I made them male cats. Also, chat is slang for vagina. Why is always a cat a synonym for vagina? English, pussy French, chat German, mushy, and probably thousands of other languages I don't know. That he has been to UV multiple times and is currently on probation. Then he pulled up his pants enough that everyone could see his ankle monitor. That was something. Then he pulled up his pants, not actually the worst direction he could have pulled his pants, though. Pen 15 monitor. I've had my hand up a sheep's bum, shocked me slightly. Child of a farming family. Helping with lambing season. Up the butt, haha. I know they do that to cows to check if they see pregnant edit. Some people mentioned, it was to impregnate them, not to check if they are pregnant. Edit 2, apparently it is also done to check if they're pregnant. Final edit, hopefully. I'm not sure what's right and what's wrong, but just read the replies before replying yourself. Legolas, what do your elf eyes see? Pregnant. A lot of pregnant. My friend is really quiet. He doesn't really talk unless talked to. He's really cool though and has some things he enjoys doing. Literally second year I knew him, the teacher asked this and he said he's a professional bowler with a 300 best. And I was like, YHAVENT, you told me this, that's amazing. I guess it just never came up. Haha, knew him for a whole year and never knew that. Has some things he enjoys doing, same. Guess he had a spare fact. He put a pin in it. Thanks for watching LWIAR. The best of recent r/AskReddit submissions and comments. If you like this video, check out LWIAR too. And don't forget to like and subscribe.